I'm someone who can easily overwhelm themselves. I'll have great optimism for the things that I believe I can do and achieve, but I'll readily admit that this can sometimes mean that I end up setting goals that I can quite quickly find myself getting overwhelmed by. Like aiming to work out 5 times per week when I've done 0 exercise in months, or to get up at 5 a.m. every day during the dead of winter when even getting out of bed at 7 a.m. is a struggle for me in winter, in hopes that I'll somehow miraculously improve my life all in one go. I stopped making New Year's resolutions a long time ago because of this very reason, and instead I now aim to check in with myself regularly and reassess my goals and aims and what is and what isn't quite working for me along the way. I guess it's a bit like opting for a pay-as-you-go sim as opposed to a long-term contract. You have the option to change your network provider at any time if you feel it's no longer the right one for you, as opposed to being stuck into, say, a 2-year-long commitment and thinking in a few months that you wish you'd opted for something else. There I go again with my random analogies, but I think you get the gist. Instead of looking at one big goal in its entirety, I've been able to break things down into much smaller chunks, and this in itself has been a game changer for me. Of course, I have those long-term goals and aims, and I'm a dreamer at heart who never stops dreaming those big dreams. But I also know that a lot can change along the way, so I am open to rerouting my journey as I travel towards my ever-evolving destination. It's good to remember that the aim of where we hope to end up can change just as much as the path we travel along to get there. One of my aims this year was to refocus on my overall well-being, fitness, and mental health. I rediscovered yoga at the start of January, and I started going to hot yoga classes at a yoga studio that was conveniently close to where I lived. I found myself getting so into it. I was convinced that I'd found my thing. It was a cure-all of sorts, and it ticked multiple boxes. It fit into my routine at the time seamlessly. I had no struggle getting to class, and in fact, I went enthusiastically more than a few times a week. I couldn't always say that about the gym. I'd found a workout routine that I truly enjoyed, fit conveniently with my life, and was doing wonders for my overall well-being. My aim was being fulfilled, and I started making goals in my mind about how I'd continue to fit my new hobby into my life over the coming months, and I couldn't wait to see where I'd be in 6 months and the next year. I was pretty sure that I was going to be amazing at it, and I was absolutely loving how it was making me feel. And then in February, I got a really bad skin infection, which pretty much took over my life for a period, and in turn stopped me going to my beloved yoga classes altogether. I felt completely thrown off course, and I found the balance that I'd created quickly slipping away. I felt so frustrated, and whilst I focused on getting better, I couldn't wait to heal and be able to get back on track as soon as possible. Then of course, not long after, everything changed for everyone and the world went into lockdown. Now it's crazy to look back and think of how much has happened and been thrown at all of us so far this year. And I'm sure many of us have found ourselves completely thrown off course in more ways than one, at least some point along the way. The goalposts have shifted and the tide completely changed direction. It would almost be silly to not allow our goals to adapt somewhat from this time. For me, my overall aim has remained the same, and if anything, felt even more relevant through this period. But now the way in which I'm working on it has changed, and my goals have definitely shifted. I wanted to be able to work on my fitness again, but I knew it wasn't going to necessarily be through being a yogi, not for the time being at least. Of course, there was always the option of online classes, but I'm not going to lie, I don't find the same level of zen and focus when I'm not in the studio. So eventually, one of the things that I decided to take up was running. Now again, I broke this down into smaller chunks because, to be honest, I've never really loved running outdoors before, and the thought of having a planned regime set out for myself from the beginning would have completely put me off even doing it. And so I just built it up slowly. First day I went for a run. I hadn't done any other exercise in months, so I just aimed to go for a run with no other expectations. It didn't matter about the distance or the speed, just that I got out and did it. And of course it was hard, but in that way I found it manageable and way less overwhelming, and so I just built it up slowly like that. Now I'm at the point where I feel I've upped my fitness levels, I can run for longer, and things no longer feel so scary. So now I aim to get out and exercise 3 times a week, and so far so good. At the moment it's running, but who knows what it may be in the future. By being open to adapt and break things down as I go, I've been able to work towards my goal of maintaining my fitness levels, and in turn it's done wonders for my mind too. I've had plenty of similar situations with other goals in other areas of my life, shifting and adapting over time too, from work to fitness to what I want to do for fun and so on. I guess I say all of this to say it's important to remember you're allowed to evolve and change just as life continues to evolve and change around you. If the goals you once had no longer serve you, then change them. Or if the aim is still the same, but it feels like the goals you had aren't quite working for you with your current situation, don't be afraid to adapt. It may just mean a slight change of route to get you back on your journey.